My name is Viswanathan. I'm connected to Pichandi, that is Talagiri, on my mother's side. He is my mother's uncle. He Tiruvannamalai and spent a lot of time in Virupaksha cave with Bhagwan. One such day, it was very cold, and Bhagwan was just wrapped in some thin cloth. And noticing that, one North Indian gave a very Bhagwan immediately said that you give the new blanket to Pichandi, that is Talagiri, and you give the new blanket to him, and the old blanket you give to me. So the old blanket was given to Bhagwan.
So Bhagwan used the Talagiri's old blanket,
Talagiri's old
and
blanket.
Bhagwan new blanket to your mother's uncle.
Talagiri, it went straight to him. So that was one. And my grandmother also is very attached to Bhagwan. And one night, I think 1950 or something.
1950, April 13th night or 14th.
Yeah, around that
14th
time,
night.
13th night or something. She had a dream.
In Trichy.
In Trichy. She had a dream that, that Bhagwan's photograph falls down and the glass shatters. So that is normally considered a bad omen. So she rushed to Tiruvannamalai with her brother. And when they reached here, Mohan had already happened. And she found the place was very crowded.
So, my uncle is called Talagiri or Pichandi.
Correct.
How that name of Talagiri street and came, you can just explain.
Talagiri is actually the name of his estate, which was close to Tirukoilur. The building here where he was staying is just opposite the temple. I think parallel to the Sannidhi Street.
Sannidhi Street. So that Talagiri street is named after your mother's uncle, who is generally called Pichandi.
Pichandi. In these circles, he was known as Pichandi.
And he was sponsoring the Mahashivaratri second Kalam Puja.
Second Kalam Puja for the Mahashivaratri was in his name.
And he used to spend a lot of time with Bhagwan in Virupaksha cave, in cooking and
all those various things. Actually, there was another grandfather of my mother who was also helping with the cooking, the Ranganadayar. And so these two people were constantly with Bhagwan during the Virupaksha days.
Virupaksha. So at that time, Virupaksha itself, the cooking started.
Small bit, very, very small bit. Because only the regular thing started with
Aragamasa. So even before Aragamasa arrival, the small cooking was going on.
Yes,
so and Pichandi and others used to Ranganadayar and all.
The N.R. Krishnamurti,
our relative, Rangana.
Our father.
NRK father. Ranganadayar. He was the in charge of Ramana Mandiram when it was purchased by Ashram, and he was in charge for some time there.
Oh, I see.
He was in charge of that. He was a lawyer by profession, I think.
No, I think he was a professor of physics, NRK.
No, NRK was professor, but his father...
I think he was just a landowner, Mirazdar, like that.
Mirazdar.
I don't think he was employed anywhere.
Anyway, he was in charge for some time, and it was purchased in 1940s.
I see.
With Talyar Khan and other people's help.
Oh, I see.
He was in charge for some time. Ranganadayar was in charge, that much I know. Then you can start with that Jangri incident.
Jangri, that's a little complex. What happened was, mother and her mother, that is my grandmother, both of them had come to Tiruvannamalai to invite the relatives, that is Pichandi and his wife and everything for the marriage.
For the marriage of?
Pichandi's daughter was getting married. And for that they had come to visit them.
Okay.
Not yet being, the marriage was being formalized, it was not yet fixed. So it was being formalized, so Rukmini, that is Pichandi's wife, she said, okay, we will go and have Bhagwan's darshan and give him
get the blessings and give some jangri and sweet.
Yeah. So they went to the ashram, and the practice at that time with Bhagavan was that he would take just one of any other thing that is offered. So he just took one jangri first, and then he took a second one.
That is in Virupaksha caves.
Yes, I think it's Virupaksha cave. Then he said, oh, that means there are two marriages. But actually they had gone there for just that one marriage. One marriage. So he said it's for two marriages. So she was wondering because they didn't know at that time.
So Bhagavan said it is for two marriages.
Two marriages, and only when they came back, they were talking at home, and only then my grandmother said that my mother's marriage is also fixed.
Fixed.
So then they
then only they connected that Bhagavan said
that
these two marriages.
That was the two marriages.
என் கல்யாணம் நிச்சயமாயிருந்தபோது அம்மா திருவண்ணாமலைக்கு தாலகிரி சிக்கலாங்கிட்டேக்கு அந்த விஷயத்தை சொல்றதுக்கு போயிருந்தார். அப்போ ருக்மணி சித்தி சொன்னதும் ருக்மணி சித்தி எனக்கு ரொம்ப ஆச்சரியமா இருக்கு. நான் கல்யாணம் சோனாதி கல்யாணம் நிச்சயமானதும் அவரிடம் பத்திரிகை கொடுக்கறதுக்கு ஜாங்கிரியம் பண்ணி எடுத்துட்டு போயிருந்தேன். அவர் ரெண்டு ஜாங்கிரியும் எடுத்திருந்தா அதே ரொம்ப ஆச்சரியமா இருந்தது. ஒண்ணுதான் எப்போதும் எடுத்துப்பார். பிறகு ரெண்டு கல்யாணமானு கேட்டார். எனக்கு ஒன்றும் புரியவில்லை. வீட்டுக்கு வந்தது நீ இப்போ சொன்னதுதான் எனக்கு இந்த அவர் என்னத்தினால ரெண்டு கல்யாணம் சொன்னார்னு தெரிஞ்சது. இப்ப கல்யாணம் நிச்சயமாயிருக்க விஷயம் எனக்கு அப்போ தெரியாது. ரெண்டு பேரையும் இப்ப அவர் பிளஸ் பண்ணியிருக்கார். அது ரொம்ப சந்தோஷமா.
Grandfather and grandmother were living in Trichy, though the thing was the village was Nangavaram. They were living in Trichy, and these from the ashram people would come now and then. And Niranjanananda Swami had come there once with some few other ashramites, and my grandmother had made some sevai, rice sevai. And Niranjanananda Swami was very pleased because he said, they're tired of eating idli and upma.
Because idli is the standard breakfast in the ashram.
So she was very happy with that, and my grandmother was completely ecstatic with that. She should always.
She could serve the.
She would always talk about that, we could do that. So that was one thing. Then one night, I think it was on the 13th of
April
1950, she had a dream at night that...
In Trichy?
In Trichy.
Your grandmother?
My grandmother.
What is her name?
She is Lakshmi Amma.
Lakshmi Amma.
Yes. So she had a dream in which the photograph of Bhagavan falls down and the glass shatters. So she said it's a bad omen, something has happened. So immediately she called her brother, with her brother, both of them rushed to Tirunelveli to find that
Bhagavan already attained
Mahanirvana, and place was crowded.
So they stayed here until the...
Yeah, the thing was... the rituals were completed and everything. So...
What about your mother? Your mother also must have had darshan of Bhagavan, no?
My mother had a darshan when she was about 7 years old. They had all come here to visit have darshan of Bhagavan, and from Trichy. And somehow they made my mother sit in the front row of this thing, and Bhagavan was looking directly at her.
In the old hall.
In the old hall. So that was a thing that was embedded in her memory till a few years ago when she passed away. So she was saying the main thing was the eye, the brightness of the eye, and he kept looking at me, and that put her in a kind of not a samadhi or anything, but it influenced her
very special influence,
deeply influenced by that, just that look of Bhagavan.
அம்மா முதல் தடவை ரமணரை பார்க்க திருவண்ணாமலை போன போது அப்ப அவர் மலை மேல இருந்தார். அவ அம்மாவோட இருந்தார். அம்மா அப்ப படியில் ஏறும்போது தடியை ஒழிக்கிட்டு டக்கு டக்குன்னு ஏறிட்டு இருந்தா. அந்த சத்தத்தை கேட்டு அவ அம்மா, ரமணரோட அம்மா, யார் வரா என்று கேட்டார். அதான் பிச்சாண்டியோட மச்சினி வந்துருக்கான்னு சொன்னார். அம்மாவும் ரமணரெல்லாம் முதல் தடவை பார்க்கறா. ரமணருக்கும் அம்மாவை தெரியாது. ரொம்ப ஆச்சரியமா இருந்தது அவர் சொன்னது அப்படின்னு. நான் சின்னவளா இருக்கச்ச என் அப்பா அம்மாவோட திருவண்ணாமலைக்கு தானகிரி சித்தப்பா வீட்டுக்கு போயிருந்தோம். இங்கிருந்து நாங்கள் ரமணாசிரமத்துக்கு போயிருந்தோம். அப்போ கூட்டமே இல்லாததால் என்னை ரமணா பகவான் பின்னாடியே உட்காந்து வச்சு விட்டாங்க. அங்கே சோபாவில் அவர் உட்கார்ந்திருந்தார், என்னையே பார்த்து கொண்டிருந்தார். நான் அவரை பார்த்தா எனக்கு அவருடைய கண்கள் தான் எனக்கு ரொம்பவும் ஆச்சரியமா இருந்தது. அப்படி பளிச்சென்று டார்ச் லைட் மாதிரி ஒளி அடிச்சென்று இருந்தது. இன்னமும் எனக்கு ரமணர்னு நினைத்தால் அவர் கண்கள் தான் நினைவுக்கு வருகிறது.
So how you happen to settle in Tiruvannamalai and the details you can just tell.
Yeah, see, the thing is,
So there used to be a lot of talk about Bhagwan in your family.
yes, quite a lot of talk about Bhagwan, but not directly his teachings or anything, but that he was a great sage and
Yes, yes.
all that sort of thing.
So you are also related to Professor N.R. Krishnamurti here.
Yes.
How?
N.R. Krishnamurti is my grandmother, the Lakshmi Amma's cousin.
Cousin.
Yeah, the brothers were their fathers were brothers.
Oh.
Lakshmi Amma's father and the thing were brothers. Lakshmi Amma's father and N.R. Krishnamurti's father were brothers. Ella Nangavaram on the Nangavaram. And in fact, N.R. Krishnamurti's brother used to be in Trichy. He was a doctor. And the name of the clinic was Ramana Clinic. He was a devotee of
News.
Rombo very eccentric, but a brilliant doctor. Right from my childhood, this sort of inquiry had already started. I mean, not as a thought, this was my whole life. The whole inquiry thing was, but inquiry, what Bhagwan is talking about, the final Atma Vichara, that one is the crux of the whole thing.
Yes.
But the beginning, there are orbits.
So many other
Orbits.
inquiries about what is world, what is this,
world,
that, and all.
all that, exactly.
Yes.
That's the thing. All that, and the feeling of insecurity that anything can happen anytime.
Yes.
So it's in the Vedantic thing, it's called Nitya Vastu Vivekam. So that sort of a thing had already started. But I didn't know that Bhagwan had talked about all this. This was all going on. And after my grandfather in Trichy, he passed away, I used to spend a lot of time because I was always interested in books and all that. And in the upstairs room, there was a lot of books, so I used to be rummaging in that. Generally, whatever books, books. Generally, I was always little. I found some algebra books, and So then one day when I was doing that, my grandmother called me. She was downstairs. She called me, "You come here." Then I went there. She opened her safe. And from there, she took out this golden jubilee souvenir. I opened it. I saw Bhagwan's picture, which was there in my grandmother's puja room also. It was there, so there's nothing new. But then, in that thing, he was talking about who am I?
Yes.
You see, that really hit the thing, because this who am I had happened even before I had come to know about Bhagwan. That is another story where I was not interested in any school studies or anything. But they had a thing called Science Talent Search. The school used to conduct. And students interested would be given laboratory facilities to do work. So I was doing a very simple experiment. Presence of iodine using starch. Nothing technical, but so when I was doing that experiment, I went on doing, and it was not happening. I was not getting the result, and it was a very simple experiment. But once it was not happening, I was a little, I was wondering, and I was just coming down from the steps of the school, and suddenly on the fourth or fifth step, suddenly this thing, who am I, just sort of flashes. So when it flashes, I was completely taken aback, because I did not know that such a question was possible. But then when this question came, everything else completely, you see, that was the first...
stand still.
So that was the first indication. But I had not yet seen Bhagwan's thing.
Yes.
So when I went to Trichy, and my grandmother gave me this golden jubilee souvenir, and I opened that thing and it says, who am I? I said, my God, this is the thing. So I sort of see it as a kind of a visiting card that Bhagwan had sent when I was in school, that, this is the thing. And I am behind this board. In fact, I thought, because at that time, sort of because of the age and immaturity and all that, I said, he is as mad as me. I considered myself to be totally mad, because looking at the surroundings there, and I had not talked about this thing to anyone. So only some last 4-5 years I have discussed this, at some length. So I thought I was completely mad. So when this happened, I sort of said, okay, so he is as mad as me. I mean, actually, it's the other way
Yes,
around.
yes.
But that was the first flash that came. Of course, then the Golden Jubilee souvenir, I sort of completely.
But still the book is
The
there.
book is very much here. I can show you the thing. This is the Golden Jubilee souvenir.
Which your
the
mother,
first edition,
your grandmother gave.
which my grandmother gave to me that sort of fateful day.
Daily routine of Sri Ramanashramam, probably between late 70s and early 80s, where the Tamil Paranam was not yet started. Tamil Paranam restarted only around 1985-86 like that. This is the old visiting card of Paul Brenton's son.
Thursday.
His last name is Hurst, and he came and had it.
This happened in a place called Kalavai, which is close to Kanchipuram. He was showing some interest, and he came and spoke to me a few words, and he gave me this visiting card of this.
He came to have darshan of Kanchi Parmacharya in Kalavai.
Yes, in Kalavai.
In Kalavai, there are 3 samadhis of previous descendants, ancestors of the Kanchi Mutt. Golden Jubilee souvenir from your grandmother, and then your involvement with Bhagwan and
Bhagwan is starting that way it started. Then again, my grandmother was again instrumental. She gave me these 3 volumes written by Bharanidhara. Arunachala Mahimai. Actually, my Tamil was and even is a little poor. But the 2 books that I read through completely many times. One was this Arunachala Mahimai, and the other was that 1 volume of Devathan Kura. Though my Tamil was sort of stuttering, I could not really, but somehow that force was sort of helped me to go through that whole.
I was also Bharanidharan's book, he first influenced me. Actually, he started to write about Seshadri Swami's birth centenary in 1970. But most of the volume covered Bhagwan. Though other Swamis also he covered this one. And at that time only Seshadri Swami's house in Chinna Kanchipuram was found out and ascertained by Kanchi Parmacharya. Now the Kanchi Mutt acquired that and they are doing the puja.
Yes. I used to go to various places. I was just traveling. Even it is one of my.
But where did you study?
I studied in Bangalore.
Bangalore. So your father was in Bangalore later?
Yes, he was in Bangalore from 1955. Mother and I joined him in 1956. He was in Institute of Science. And then later on, he was general manager in HA. I used to be wandering about, like you said yesterday, he was a vagabond in front of me. Yeah, this is exactly my fitting also. I was just moving around. Suddenly, one night I was just going to some place. I'd gone to Madras to visit my uncle. He said, haven't you gone to Higginbotham? Because that used to be a place I used to go always. So I said, no, I'm on the way to the bus stand. I'll go to the Higginbotham's thing. And so I went to Higginbotham's. And there I found Reflection on Talks by Mohan. So I had that book. Then I was wondering where to go. Then I said, for God knows what reason, I went to Vellore. And took one small room, some 15 rupees a night or something. And then I started reading this book. And that again, like that Golden Jubilee souvenir thing was absolutely huge impact. Because the whole thing which had gone my life, now all things put in a book form, so it really, the rapport
and it's still in your mind.
Yes. And then I think from there, I'm not 100% sure, I think from there I straight away came to Tiruvannamalai, because I reached Tiruvannamalai somewhat dusk. It was, I think, probably around 7:30 when everything was already quietening down. But in those days, no rush or anything. So,
so that's around 1975?
Must have been earlier than that. That was 73 and so then I actually, there was always no problem getting a place to stay. And I think TNV was the person. Then they allotted me one room, which is it's called the gentleman's room and
common guest
room. So they gave me one room there with a sort of broken down table and one table fan. And then there's no attached boiler here. You just have to go to that. So, but that night when I sort of put my head on the pillow was the absolute peace. It's like homecoming. So that was actually my physical
Connection started.
connection, correct, with this place, and more than the place, it's Bhagavan.
Bhagavan's teaching and his grace path.
And that's another thing I want to say, because he was never Bhagavan too. He was always Ramanar, because grandmother used to say Ramanar only. So that makes him more of a friend. You know, Bhagavan, you're putting him at a distance.
Yes, yes.
That is my view of the thing. Ramanar, that's all. You see?
Then you started frequenting more to the ashram.
Frequenting more to the ashram, because we were allowed only 3 days stay in the ashram.
Yes, yes.
I had no idea that you could ask for an extension, so I'd come 3 days, go back, and I had nothing else to do. I was only on this. So I was just reading his books. I had collected a lot of books in the ashram itself. Then in Bangalore, there's a place called Vedanta Book House in Chamarajanagar, and a lot of books I bought from that place. So this was my whole life actually.
So you never worked or earned?
No, that's the thing, that I never really worked for a very long time. What had happened at that time was immediately after college I had decided not to, that I would not get involved in any of these things. I threw away everything. So when I told my father this, then he said, "What do you want to do?" I said, because my thing was that I wanted to live away from all this madness. So I said I'd like to live in a small place, build a small hut and go and stay there. And then the funny thing is that he could accommodate such views, because he was of a different stature, not like the usual thing. Then immediately he got me some books on how to build a hut and to stay and all that sort of thing. But finally what happened was, I was sort of very. Then there was one Veerashaiva sadhu. He was very interested in me. He was sort of. Then when I said I want to sort of think, then he showed me a piece of land just about 15-20 kilometers from Bangalore. So beautiful. I mean, no trees, nothing.
In the area.
This was north of Bangalore, close to a place called Gubbi. So he said, then he got some 3-4 villagers from this Bhairati. They were his disciples. Then he said, "You just build one thing." So one afternoon or morning, he just, they started digging the place, because they were making bricks out of that soil. So it was very conducive for this kind of a thing, a little water and all that. So they made 4 walls using bamboo poles and everything, and put some coconut tatti on top, and secured the whole thing with a tarpaulin. And the place was ready in 1 or 2 days. No doors, no windows. So I went and stayed there. What was happening was see, in Karnataka you have these Gaudas. They are leaders of the village, like we call Mirasdars in Tamil Nadu. These Gaudas are there. So one Gauda was...
Tamil Nadu Gaudas or Gaudas?
Exactly. Same thing. So one Gauda, he was a very nice man. One Gauda, he was very interested. He said, because I was staying there alone in the thing, and I just had Ramana's books with me, there was nothing else. And this was going on. So he said, there was one underground temple close by, a huge banyan tree and everything, and underground temple, again a Veerashaiva temple. And some sadhu was there, the village people were not happy with him. He said, "You go there, you go and stay there." So that brought me to a point where I was not sure if I wanted to do that. But this Gauda was very he gave me a deer skin some time back before that. He had actually gone hunting in that Banerghat, I said before it was National Park. And he had given me a deer skin, so I was sitting on the deer skin. I mean, all this without any, it just happens. Even, as I was reading that talks, many times I've revised that so many times. I was sitting there, and then Bhagavan is describing one thing where, a bee, a wasp, it collects a small worm, and it takes it there, it puts it in that thing, and in the clay. Brahmargata. That was happening right in front of my eyes. I saw this thing bringing in that worm, putting it there, closing the thing.
Bhagavan watched it interestingly in Pachaman temple.
Oh, I didn't know. But then I saw that
temple as well as in Gurumurtam also.
These
two places?
No. What happened was, this thing, as I was watching maybe a month or two, slowly that thing opens and there is thing comes out flying. I said, teaching us, see, everything, every aspect of of life is taught in that. So so then I said, okay, no, this is going beyond me. I'm talking about that, that God wanting me to take over.
So this was around 75, 80?
No, not yet 75, a little before, 73, around 73.
Oh.
So then I said, this is going beyond. And for us, what was the thing was, if there's any crucial decision.
So your mother was not objecting to your way of life?
That is the amazing thing. That is the amazing thing. Mother, father, everything, the kavacham, some sort of a kavacham that was protecting us. Okay, I was spending a lot of time most of the time in Kanchipuram and with
the Jayendra Swami, wherever he travels.
Wherever he was traveling, I was moving around with him on the yatra and everything. And what I would do is now and then I would ask permission to come to Ramanashram. From the thing, and he would say, okay, and I would come and spend the 3 days and go back. So that was going on. So that was one thing. So sometimes somebody from the ashram also would accompany me to. Okay, during my sister's marriage, it went on for 3 days or something, and one day I got news that the cow had passed away. So
that happened in Bangalore?
In Bangalore only, everything in Bangalore. So then that phase of my life was over. So only the calf was left, and like I said, that calf, we gave it away to a neighbor who who had a lot of cows. So I used to walk quite a lot. Not actually trekking, it was more like rambling, a very casual walk. I used to walk long distances. So it started like that, long distance, I started walking like that. Then later on, walked to Kaladi, and then a little bit of walking in the Himalayas also. One particular incident was, normally I don't make any sort of a study of the places that I'm going. I just go there blindly without having any idea. I like it that way. So I landed up there in a place, it was in the foothills of the Himalayas. And morning, I had just come out, I was just walking around, then I saw this whitish peak. So I thought, some granite quarrying has gone on or something. Then I sat down for a while, then I realized actually it is snow. Then I was looking at, because from my childhood I wanted to go to the Himalayas. That was always my dream. So I was sitting there, then I was saying, oh yeah, finally now we're in the Himalayas. But then suddenly from inside, this come, totally unexpected. This, I won't say voice, it's a sort of a prompting. Who is looking at the peak? Because I have visited all this Gomukh and all those places. Then here in the south, we made some 3-4 people went walking from PR Hills and right through, then ended up somewhere near past Kodaikanal, Silent Valley, and then back to Bangalore. That was one thing. But here, the main thing here is we carry our cooking and we were never eating outside. What we had, because in those days there was no backpack and all that. So I would take a big, this bed sheet and put this rice dal and vessel and everything. Make it into a dobi kind of thing. And but I had made a small change where I could put it on the shoulder. Dobi will carry it like this. So anyway, so we were doing that. So it was absolutely a dream. Like I just can't imagine. Once we were walking from when we were going to Kaladi, actually, we went through Chamaraj Nagar and we went through a place called Nula Hole and then came up to
so you walked through Karnataka, Tamil Nadu?
Yes, Karnataka. See, Karnataka part of it was, we were skirting Bandipur and Mudumalai was the Tamil Nadu part of the same part. So Mudumalai, we crossed all that. And also Wayanad. It was the first time I saw Wayanad. So Wayanad was absolutely beautiful. It's just absolutely beautiful. Then Sultan Bateri, everything. Then we reached Kaladi. Then traced back through Mysore we came back from that time. So that was one walk. Okay, now I'll just relate something about Mahabarivar. We used to visit him quite often, Mahaparivar, various camps,
Wherever his camp is there.
we would go. And just going anywhere near the camp, that whole atmosphere, that thing was there. I used to know this Bala Parivar even before his sannyas. That is
Now Vijayendra Swami.
Vijayendra Swami. As a young boy, he used to come with his brother, his father, a very, very Sattvic man. And many times he would, because I would be sitting outside the door of Vijayendra Swami to sort of allow people, not allow people. That is so. Sometimes he'd come and say, can I go and have a session? I said, no. And also sometimes what would happen, we'd go to Ekamreshwar temple. And there, there is a huge ground. So some people in the mutton had some wickets and all that. So we would play cricket also. The reason for my talking about all this, I have kept it within myself for more than 70 years, or say 70 years. But now I feel that there's a lot of emphasis being given to propagate Bhagwan's teaching, which I think is totally unnecessary.
Yes.
There's absolutely no need to propagate his teaching because he is doing a fantastic job.
Bhagwan is doing himself.
His job in a natural way. Also, the other important thing is the teaching is not the same for everyone.
Yes,
Though it is called Vicharam, Atma Vicharam, it's same Atma Vicharam, but when he talks to a small kid, that same Atma Vicharam, the same message will be given in a different kind of language.
By language, yes.
So the kid also will understand, and as he grows up, it will start, flowering inside. So I think we should give this thing a chance, instead of, constantly, doing some. And just that who am I has to come from Bhagwan. You see, it is not from our mouth that it has to come. So the teaching is just that whole thing. So it is best leave it to him. If you take this Who Am I and that small booklet, the first thing that I got was this question answer thing. And somehow, to be frank, I was not at all impressed with it. It was just not, because it had all that, because the last 100, 150 years, this whole thing about Raja Yoga has become very popular. So, the questions were framed like that. I was wondering. Then later on, I got that essay thing. So that was bang on. Okay, then see, at that time, because I was not interacting with anybody, I was just doing on my own. Then later on, people said, see, now instead of this question answer thing, this essay thing is actually.
Actually, Bhagwan himself rewrote it.
Exactly.
And I never got interest in question answer.
Exactly.
I never got interest in question answer. And when it came, no, Bhagwan rewrote it, and it goes step by step.
And straight to the heart.
And
absolutely no.
I completely by hearted it, and I will be repeating it.
Parayana is just absolutely. There's one instance which David Godman talks about. He had a friend or something in Jerusalem. A lady, she had not heard of Bhagwan, nothing. Totally, completely cut off. One day she was just entering the house and they have these mail boxes on the gate where the postman puts the thing. She just opened the mailbox, she finds this book, Who Am I? And she starts reading that. What she says is, for the next 17 years, I had no inclination to read any other book. See, I think where Bhagwan is thinking, and it goes and reaches her and touches her. And so this propagation, that absolutely,
Bhagwan is doing his own
everything. I mean, perfect. I mean, how else? It has to be perfect.
So how did it happen to you to stay here in Tiruvannamalai?
Meaning?
To settle here?
That was always my thing. Always. To come and settle down in Tiruvannamalai. But I never had the money to sort of. Only after my dad passed away, some property sold in Bangalore, then I had a little money, so could come and buy a flat.
So Jayendra Swami never objected you to come to Ramanashram whenever you wanted to come?
No, absolutely nothing. But some of his, see, Mahaswamis, the attendants, I know them very, very well. So they used to say, your place is here, you can't be, that is not for you, because they think it's, all foreigners and, that is.
Yes.
And they have a very, very limited sort of idea, because they think it is all, because they're very orthodox. So this is all Rudrabhumi. You know, they won't. Many people would never used to even put their
No, even
foot on it.
Parmacharya himself gave the notice that no Vyasa Paranam should be done here.
Oh.
That is dealt in Surinagamas, this one.
Okay, okay.
Reminiscence it is there. And even for Kanakamma, family wanted her to adopt Parmacharya
Yes,
only.
yes, yes.
Then Parmacharya said, Angayana ena, Ingayana ena.
Correct, correct, correct. And he puts all that in a nutshell.
Yes, yes.
Ekantavasam,
Swayambakam,
and
Vedanta Sravanam.
Vedanta Sravanam. So it's
அது
the same.
பகவான் மாதிரியே சூத்திர மாதிரி தான்
I don't
சொல்லியிருப்பாரு.
know. That's all. That's all. No, but I didn't find that happening in Jaina Swami's thing at all. Because every time I would say I'm going there, he'd say, okay, then I'll be here for the 3 days and go back again. There is no problem at all.
So when you came and settled, your mother also came here.
Yes, yes, yes. Because when I first came here, I mean, I was staying in some rented places. Then I was staying with Ganeshan for some time. Then I was in another rented places near Vanadurga. Mother came and stayed there only. Then we bought this place, and she would be here for some 6-9 months, and then when the summer it would be very difficult. So she would go to Bangalore and stay with my sister that way, up and down.
So you stayed only few days here.
No, she was here all the time.
Yes.
All the
We had gone to, because of this COVID thing, we couldn't go to Bangalore for a long time. Then once we went there, we stayed there for some thing. In fact, I stayed for nearly more than a month. I stayed in Bangalore with her. But she's from 2014. She's been staying here most of the times. So I'll be talking about Metur Rajagopal, who was a chemical engineer who came to Mahaperiva when he was very young. He gave up his job, he gave up everything, and stayed with Mahaperiva for the rest of his life. He was very close to him. In fact, he would arrange for his bath. He would go early morning at about 2 o'clock to any close by river, collect the water for Mahaperiva's bath, and he was doing things like that, very, very close. And I got very close to him in Kurnool when this camp was going on, where all 3 Perivas were there. So from then we were very close. And it also so happened that he was also interested in going around the hills and forests and all that. So every time we reached a camp, after Periva and all that got done, everything, then both of us would go to the surrounding forests, hills or something, and spend a lot of time
In the Kurnool area.
in the Kurnool area, walking towards Tamil Nadu, Kanchipuram, via Chittoor and all that. So every 10 kilometers there would be a camp, because Mahaperiva couldn't. 84 or something, I think Mahaperiva moved away from the mutt. He was staying in Shivasthanam and Kadavai and all that.
So he was not
No,
connecting himself with
no, not at all. Completely. He was saying, I'm a sannyasi, I don't have anything now. That way. So only those 4 or 5 people, the boys, they stuck on to him in spite of all that. They went through, there was absolutely no support at all. Only the devotees would come now and then, some rice and this would be given.
So he never had any contact with the mutt.
But completely cut off, completely cut off. And then I think sometime doing something, he said, suddenly got up one day, and as usual, whenever he left the thing, he would go and do some pradakshina before this Varadaraja Perumal. So he did that, and after that he just started walking away from Kanchipuram and everything, going towards Orikai and all that. Then the boys got to know that he is going to be leaving Kanchipuram. So that is when that other part of his journey started. All that in Karnataka he camped in many places on the border of Maharashtra and everything. I forget the names. So that's the thing. So but then after that they wanted to bring him back to Kanchipuram. So that is why the whole camp of Pudu Periva, there's Jayendra Saraswati and Bala Periva also was with him. So all 3 of them came to Kurnool and entreated. They entreated him to come back to Kanchipuram. There was a lot of back and forth. Then finally he agreed, and all 3 started walking back towards Kanchipuram. So the incidents that I'm sort of relating now is in that period, from Kurnool to Kanchipuram. When we were in one place somewhere close to Madanapalli, some local villages, because they knew that Rajagopal, Metur Rajagopal and I were both interested in all this forest and all. He said there is one cave, underground cave, which is one of the largest in the country. So we went, and actually it was very primitive. There was no, we had to go through a well, get down a well about 30 feet, and then from there the cave would start. It would go almost 2
So
kilometers
it's almost
inside.
like a tunnel.
It is a huge tunnel, but the funny thing is there was a huge hall and some sort of a days was there, and the local who had come, we went with the Petromax, otherwise there's no light, there's no air also to breathe.
No.
So he said this was being used for meditation by many yogis and all that. So I mean, we just spent a few minutes and we came back. You might have heard of this Manimantapam in Orikai, which is close to Kanchipuram. So once Gauri Shankar, that is Sendilnathan's father, we were very close. So he said, see, I'm going to Kanchipuram, you come along. And since I had not seen Metur Rajagopal for a very long time, a number of years, decades, so I said, okay, I'll come with you on condition that we go and see this Rajagopal. He said, yeah, no problem and everything. So we went off to Kanchipuram, and he had because he was from, he spent his years in Calcutta. Some of his, people known there had come here to Tiruvannamalai and to also to go to Kanchipuram. So they wanted Gauri Shankar to help them with the visit. So all of them, 2 or 3 of them also were there. So all of us went to Kanchipuram, and usually we went to that Kamakshi Amman Kovil and Madam, and we were talking with Balu and all that. So it became very late. So then he said, Gauri Shankar said, see, this time it is very late. Next time we will see Rajagopal. And I was a little disappointed. I said, we came here just for that. So I said, okay, let's leave. I mean, so then we got into the taxi, and then he started driving. The funny thing is, after about 10 kilometers, we see the boat called Orikai. That is where Rajagopal was. And actually that was not on the way back. Actually we should have taken a different route.
Yes, that is not the way to
That is not to the Tiruvana. Yeah, no, not the way. So, but we found ourselves in Orikai. Then we got an okay Rajagopal. So,
Oh, so you went at
yeah. So darshan, because I had not seen him I hadn't seen him as a sannyasi before that. I only knew him as a brahmachari. So it was absolutely, so it was completely, organized by divine. And the other incident was about this sannyasi called Odachari Swami. A very elevated soul and totally unpredictable. And he would come early in the morning at 3 o'clock, and he would go and bathe in all the tanks in Kanchipuram. And you know the state of the tanks, that itself shows his elevation. But absolutely, the water used to be, you wouldn't even bear to touch it also. He would have a bath and his clothes. So, and in the Matam they treated him as a sort of a madman. But he was of a different, and he would attend this Bhashya Padam in the Matam during the Chaturmasiyam thing. And he became very close to me. He would, every day he would come, and then he would make me read the Sthala Puranams of various small temples. And for me this Tamil was always a problem, but somehow I would stutter around, and somehow. And once Jayendra Swami said, oh, so you got hold of him. So I was really blessed by that thing. Once what happened, he suddenly, while we were talking about all this, he suddenly said, come inside. So went inside, and inside the matam for this puja and all that, they take some water from that well. That is considered to be very holy thing. So he just sat on there, he said, you pour water on me. So, some 2-3 pots of water on him. And he left his kaupinam in my place. After that, I never saw him. So that was my Chittur. So on the thing towards, from Kurnool towards Kanchipuram, all these things happened, and now we were coming close to Chittur. That's the border of Andhra and Tamil Nadu, where you have this Nutrin factory, and they had organized that camp there, so we stayed for some 2-3 days. And there are a lot of people from Andhra used to come and have darshan. There was one boy who was, who came to have a darshan of Puduperi.
83, 84?
84, just at that time we were reaching Kanchi. This boy, he went and spoke to Jayendra Swami, and he said, and he had that sort of vairagya in him. This boy, he wanted to give up he was working as some clerk or something in this, it used to be called the P&T department in those days. So he was working there, he was staying with his sisters or something. So he was very insistent that, that I'm going to give up my job and everything, and he had met Jayendra Swami and all that. He said, you just carry on with your thing, you do Gayatri Japa and all that. But he kept on talking to me about, this thing. I said, if you're sort of so thing about it, then go to Tiruvannamalai, that is the place for all this. But he said, no, 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 I'm going to the Himalayas. I don't know what got into me. I said, okay, when I come there, I'll see you. I mean, it was a completely foolish kind of a statement because I had no money to go there, and Himalayas is such a huge place. So I said, okay. Then of course, we sort of thing. And 84, I came away from the mutt. I came back to Bangalore. And then suddenly some friends of mine, we said, no, we'll go to Gomukh. So we went to Gomukh in the Himalayas. So there, when we were coming back from Gomukh, somewhere near Gangotri, some local said, see, somebody is calling you, pointing to me. Then I turned around and saw, I couldn't recognize him. He was, completely beard and hair and this thing and just some cloth around him. He had become a sort of an avduta type of person. Then when I came close, it was this boy that I had seen in thing. I said, this is amazing. And then what happened was he wouldn't let me go. He was in Maunam. So I said, no, 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 you come here. Then he took, he was staying in a cave actually there. Then he had all those leaves, because on the way to Gomukh, you have this Bhoj Vasa, which is the home of this Bhoja Patra, where the leaf on which people would write. So he had a lot of that. He kept on writing. He said, no, 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 you have to stay here. Then I said, no, I can't. Then he said, one bhiksha. Then he took me around this thing. Because I was completely amazed because just out of the blue, I told him I'll meet him in the Himalayas. And you know how the divine thing works.
In Chittur, you said after many years.
It's totally flabbergasting that was. So anyway, after that, we came back. And after that thing, I had that bhiksha and everything. And he said, you have reached your breaking point. Otherwise, he saw that as I had sort of, because I had come away from Periva and all that, he said, probably you have reached. So he sort of put me away. This was one thing. And then I want to talk about a thing that happened in the family. This is sort of a family legend where my mother's elder brother, called Srinivasan, he used to live in Aravangad near Ooty. So as a boy, he had a very severe stomachache and all the treatments and everything failed. And so my grandmother said, okay, because in any of these cases, Periva is the ultimate, so Paramacharya. So went there and he listened to everything, but he didn't say anything at all. He just, I don't know where it was, but it probably might have been Kanji. I'm not too sure where it was. So they went there and he didn't say anything. He just looked at thing and then he just sort of touched his stomach, his own stomach. His own stomach. He sort of caressed it that way, and we found that this stomachache had completely disappeared from my uncle's thing. So this is sort of a family legend that everything would be repeated now and then. Then I'm be talking about this. We're coming back to Talagiri now. Here we are talking about Janaki. I'm not very sure, but I think that's the name. She was the sister of Talagiri. Sister of Talagiri and extremely devoted to Bhagwan. So again in the family circles, it was that wherever she saw a picture of Bhagwan, wherever it is on the road away, she would just do this namaskaram. And so she was utterly devoted. And she had this practice of going around Bhagwan's sofa. And I think Bhagwan himself was not very, pleased with that kind of a thing. He didn't like it because he said, if you start doing it, others will try it. And beautiful.
Bhagwan says to Janaki, if you do like this, whoever comes here, they will think
that is the practice.
And they will also start doing like this. Then appuram na vandu arasamaram I become a people tree. Then she says, Bhagwan, oh maayala enakku theriyum. Appdi solittu poidra.
Okay.
So then this was continued. Then Bhagwan kept quiet. After some time, Krishna Swami, Bhagwan's attendant, took up the reign.
Correct.
And he started telling whenever she does the protection of sofa, hashtag, hashtag. So after 2 or 3 times, she also became vexed about it. So she made a small comment about Krishna Swami.
Correct.
So then after she left, Bhagavan just laughed and
Correct.
said, நம்ம சும்மா இருந்தா வந்து தெரியும் நம்ம அவங்க வாயை கலனா நம்ம சுரூபத்தை வெளியே காமிச்சுடுறாங்க. So Bhagavan said, பகவான் பழுத்த மரம் கிருஷ்ணசுவாமி கொழுத்த முள்ளு ரெண்டுத்தையும் எங்க
That's all. That's all.
That is Kanagama explained.
Very, very beautiful. Very beautiful. And the other thing that I remember is that house, which has now become a school, this Talagiri's house, was not on Talagiri street. It was opposite the temple. There's one small lane. And in that lane, I think that house was there.
Sannidhi Thiru?
No, parallel to Sannidhi. Parallel to, well, I think now it may be almost impossible. This lady called Lakshmi Venkatraman, who was sort of a little
Sarma's
granddaughter.
She recently died of COVID.
Yes, yes. So she was very close to me at the time, and she once mother also was here at the time. So mother was talking about Talagiri and all that. Then she said, Lakshmi then immediately said, I know this. There's a person here from this same family and all that. So one day, after a long time, she brought a lady called Bhanumati, and introduced her to my mother.
Is
And
Bhanumati related?
I don't know how she's. I don't.
She is in Talagiri Street.
She is in Talagiri Street. So she seems to have a lot of background. She knows the whole family thing about that.
She used to tell me that they used to supply during Bhagwan's time, Chinnaswami's time,
Right.
lot of rice requirements for the.
And she was talking about some Ram Mandir or some Bhajana Mandir in that's all in Talagiri Street. I think she still has the key to the place. I think she was talking like that, so. And now I go to the Jayendra Saraswati's camp when I was moving around with him in the Yatra. We had come to a place called Sandur. So we had camped in the Sandur Maharaja's place, and once we were walking around, I think on the banks of Tunga or something, and then we came across one small Shiva temple, just a small shrine, not a temple, just a small shrine. The linga was absolutely beautiful. It was just made of Rudraksha. And the surrounding was beautiful. Just the river was just a few yards away from the thing. So looking at it was, kind of a thing. Then immediately, I was next to him, so he said, would you like to stay here? You can just settle down here. Because the place was so fantastic, the power of that thing. The same thing happened in Sri Salem also. So Periva said, would you like to stay? Then he made me, we found some couple there, and I stayed in their house for some time.
But you didn't stay?
I stayed there.
You stayed?
I stayed
How
there.
long?
Not much, maybe about a month or so.
In Sri Salem?
In Sri Salem.